If you want to lose a lot of body fat in 2026, then it's so important that you are setting yourself up correctly. If you are following these rules, you are literally going to maximize your chance of success. The last thing I want to happen is that in February you crash and burn and you are scratching your head, not knowing any idea on where it went wrong. I've put together 6 rules, right, from my own experience. This is what I used to look like, an absolute fat mess, and this is what I look like now. I also coach men on my program to do exactly the same. Sometimes they're injured and I can still manage to get these same results even if they have injuries. And I'm going to package the rules in which we follow, I follow, and I get my clients to follow into this video so that you can actually keep getting results beyond January, right? And before I even get into that, I might as well explain why most people crash and burn within the first few weeks. Most people look at themselves in the mirror and see themselves getting out of shape. They are physically unhealthy and they just look in absolute disgust at what they see in the mirror, right? They feel like shit, they sleep like shit, their decision making shit, their brain capacity is all terrible, right? So they attack January like an absolute animal, right? They train most days and they're eating really nutrient dense foods. The problem is, which leads me on to rule number 1, is that they're doing too much too soon, right? And I'll mention more on that later on, but they're doing too much too soon on too less food. So there's a massive discrepancy in input and output. And what happens is that you're absolutely demoralized, you're always hungry, you have low energy, low enthusiasm. It just literally downward spirals until you give up because you're that hungry. We need to get this right, and you need to set it up really well so that you can literally have not just a few weeks of success, but many months of success. This took me 5 months, right? And 5 months, it was pretty straightforward, right? Anyway, what I'm going to be covering today is the rules that ensure success. Follow them. Literally, get your notebook out, write these motherfucking rules down. It's so important. I've mentioned why most people crash and burn, because they do too much on too little calories. It's important that we set things up perfectly, milk it for as long as possible, then make a change afterwards. And I'll mention more about that later on. And also finishing with personal standards, the rules in which you let yourself live by. For those that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Paul Green. I'm a former British paratrooper, Special Forces Support Group operator. I've trained elite soldiers for the best part of 10 years. We need to get this right. I also train blokes with injuries on my program. If you are injured and you're struggling to overcome these injuries and you want to get absolutely shredded while overcoming these injuries, then the link is in the description in order for you to jump on my program and work with me on a one-to-one basis. I'm also a purple belt in BJJ and I've got 7 years of grappling experience. Rule number 1, I have not ordered these rules in order of priority. They are all equally as important as each other, right? And you will see by my passion as I explain these rules just how important they are. Remember, I've worked with a lot of blokes that are overweight, that are obese, that have type 2 diabetes, and these rules are all at the forefront of my mind when coaching people and at the forefront of their minds when receiving the coaching from me. Now I want you to take exactly these points that I've learned in my 10 years of coaching experience and also getting shredded myself into your lives. Just literally copy and paste what I'm doing because it's hard enough, right? Rule number 1, do not start too fast, right? The reason people start too fast is because emotions are high. When emotions are high, when you've got some serious problems on your hands, we need to calm things down and think a little bit more logically, right? People will train too much. They will lift a lot. They will lift 5 or 6 times per week. They will do cardio more sessions. They will eat really nutrient dense foods, reduce the carbohydrates, and eat really healthy. All of this will overload the system. By simply calming everything down, let's say for example, not training 5 or 6 times a week lifting, if you could just consistently say to yourself, I am going to lift really fucking well for 3 sessions per week, and you're going to milk every ounce of gains that actual volume allocation give you, then make a change in the future, happy days. 3 high quality sessions is plenty. Instead of going out for 2-hour walks to burn extra fat, calm it down and just do 1 hour of walking per day. Remember, it's all about consistency. If you overload the system within January, you're going to cause a crash and burn in February, 4 weeks down the line. Calories, this is the most important one. People undercut their maintenance calories by too much, right? The reason they do this a lot of the time is because they have no consideration about the numbers. They will do salads or no carbs or keto diets when simply all you need to do is fill your diet with mostly whole foods, nutrient dense foods, and just undercut your calories at the start by 10%. Undercut your maintenance calories by 10%. Just by switching your normal food into whole food variations with the 3 sessions per week, with the 1 hour of walking per week, and maybe 20 minutes of cardio daily. Just by making them changes is plenty to get you some serious weight loss gains for the first few weeks. And this is what I'm so important, right? Make sure when you set the tone, when you're not starting too fast, you've got the plan in place, make sure you run that plan until your gains plateau. It's very easy to get excited with all of these gains. You may lose a couple of kilos in the first week. You may lose another kilo the second week. You may lose another kilo the third week. And I swear to God, this is just the way it works. By making these really positive changes, your body fat will start to melt off your body. Keep the plan exactly the same until the results start to level out. Then make a change. But remember, you don't have that luxury to do that if you've started with high output, training cardio every day, lifting most days, doing loads of steps, eating barely any food. You don't have any levers to pull next month in March. It's important that you maximize the amount of levers in which you can pull in the future. And the only way you can do that is if you don't start too fast. Hopefully that makes sense. Rule number 2. Quality over quantity, right? There's a saying that I really like. Sometimes less but better is more. And this is relevant to training and it's relevant to nutrition. Talk about training first. Making sure that you're not faffing around in the gym doing shitty exercises, making sure that you're only doing the most impactful exercises to the highest possible standard of technique, to the highest possible intensity, will mean that you can literally slash your training time in half because what you are doing is that impactful and effective. Get in the gym, get out the gym, be with your family, doing the stuff that matters in your life. The same with nutrition, right? You've got nutrient dense foods over calorie dense foods. The nutrient dense foods are usually very low in calories, which keeps hunger at bay because they're high in fiber. And always look to try and make good choices. Pay good money for good food choices. So if you can, organic is absolutely unbelievable. Rule number 3, carbs are compulsory. In order for you to train at a standard in the gym that builds muscle and builds strength, you need to be having plenty of carbohydrates. If you think about your maintenance calories that you have just chopped 10% or 20% off your maintenance calories, half of that calorie allocation needs to be carbohydrates. And those carbohydrates need to be pretty much spread around your training sessions. Carbohydrates fuel high performance, and pretty much every single world record holder that I've ever researched eats carbohydrates before they have broke that world record. Now I'm not going to sit here and think that you're actually looking to break world records, but you are trying to beat personal records, and the only way you do that is if you have insanely high energy. And listen to this. If carbohydrates are in your system Eat simply digestible carbohydrates, both complex and simple before you train, and both complex and simple after you train as well, to replenish the carbohydrates back into the muscles, ready for the next training session. If you have carbohydrates in your meal plan around your training sessions, you will build muscle and you will build strength at the same time as you losing body fat. One thing I want you to remember, there is a caveat to carbohydrates, right? As soon as you eat them, your blood sugar goes high. You have high energy. But the moment your blood sugar starts to come back down, that little creature, the survival part of your brain, will start yapping and telling you that you're hungry and you are going to die unless you eat more carbohydrates. Logical part of your brain needs to go, shut up, dickhead. I need to eat whatever my meal plan dictates. Right? So make sure that you don't neglect carbohydrates in the seek of a quick fix body fat loss. Because if you neglect carbohydrates, right, yes, your scale weight will go down, but it won't last. You won't be able to do this for a long time. And more importantly, when the scale weight is down and you've achieved your goal weight, you will look like a bag of shit because you have not been able to gain muscle. Carbohydrates give you the platform to build muscle and strength. Protein helps recover the muscle mass. Carbohydrates allow you to perform at the required standard to build strength and muscle. Without strength and muscle, you will look like a bag of shit, even though you are less fat. We don't want to look like a bag of shit. We are men. We want high testosterone. Enough on that. Rule number 4, meal preparation. You need to make eating nutrient-dense foods convenient. In order for you to do that, you're going to have to sit there with the music on in your kitchen and prep your meals for the next 3 days, right? You've got a kilo of beef, you've got 15 eggs, you've got all your rice that needs cooking, you've got all of your veg that needs cooking. You just literally smash it out in an hour. Then all of your meals are in a container and they are conveniently in your fridge. If you have unhealthy, highly calorific shite that is conveniently in your cupboards, and you don't have conveniently placed nutrient-dense foods that are actually on your meal plan, you're going to start drifting off centre. You're going to start unnecessarily testing yourself when it doesn't need to happen. By spending 1 hour preparing your meals, you're going to be always prepared for whatever the situation. If you have to go out on a 3-hour drive to a work meeting, you've got your meals prepared. You've preparation, right? And you're going to save yourself 3 or 4 hours of cooking time. So by investing 1 hour into preparation, you save 3 or 4 hours. Now, if you have a very high pressure family life where people start to think, oh, but I want you to be in the house, I want you to do this, this and this, you have just gained 3 or 4 hours back into your life, which you could very well use to train. And when we get caught off guard, when we are hungry, that's when the bad intentions start to happen. Meal prep is so important for nullifying all of this, because you create nutrient-dense, convenient options for yourself when it matters most. Rule number 5, touched on a little bit of this earlier on, but don't change the plan if it's working. Do not get highly emotional in the first few weeks because your results are going that well. Don't think, oh, I'm going to add in some more cardio, or I'm going to reduce my food even more, or I'm going to add in an extra weight session because I want extra gains. No. Keep it the same. If the plan is working, keep it the same and absolutely use that to its full effect until the results plateau out a little bit. And when they do, you can make a tiny adjustment, one tiny adjustment. Remember what I said earlier on about the levers? You have now got, as a man, you have now got levers to pull. Do I pull the steps lever? Do I pull the cardio lever? Do I add in an extra weight training session? Do I reduce food? Now, an exceptional piece of advice I could give you is by adding output first. For example, The first change you want to make is add cardio training, extra calorie burning, right? Cardiovascular has massive benefits. Lungs, heart and lungs, it's going to make you fitter. So you're going to look more athletic, right? 20 minutes per day, right? That's the first change. The most important thing is that you incrementally add output. Because if you reduce input, if you reduce the food first, you leave yourself completely flat. You want your energy to stay as high as possible for as long as possible, right? And speaking from experience, you've seen the picture earlier on, I was only flat in a 22 to 23 week process. My energy was only flat for like the last 2 or 3 weeks. So when people say to you, yeah, I'm on a diet, I'm getting shredded, whatever, and my energy's really poor, and they're only 2 or 3 weeks in, they're doing it terribly. They're doing it so wrong. And it's because they have got no energy, because they have reduced their food so much at the start and left too much of a deficit. You don't need to do it like that. So if in doubt, when the plan no longer serves you, it no longer drops that 1% of body fat per week, then you want to pull one lever. Don't pull 5 levers in a panic. Remember, logical, data-driven men, pull one lever, add 20 minutes of cardio. Run that for another few weeks until that drops off and you start to plateau again off that. Then you could do 30 minutes of cardio. And you might think 20 minutes to 30 minutes isn't that much. It's 50% more cardio. It's actually a lot. You could run that for a few more weeks. Then you could go to steps. You could add in an extra 2,000 steps. Then you could go to the training session, add one more heavy lifting session per week. Now you see how you've just pulled certain output levers, all without reducing your food 1 calorie. It's huge that you do not change the plan if it's working, and the most important thing is knowing when to make a change and make one significant change. Increase the output always before you reduce the input of food. Rule number 6, personal standards. You need to form some strength, some character, right? Strength of character. And the way you do this is by not accepting low standards. Not letting yourself slip into a mindset of having low standards, right? So you're not going to have unhealthy food and drinks that are negatively going to poison your body in the future. You're going to be a positive role model by displaying positive actions. You're going to handle adversity like the man that has already achieved your dream outcome. So think about that. You are now trying to live, problem solve, think, and handle adversity like the man who has already achieved the goal in which you're trying to achieve. So now think about this. You're now following a strategy and a plan. Tactically, you're following the tactics required in a 24-hour period to get you from A to B. But you are thinking like the man that has already achieved it. These two combined not only will get you there, but they will keep you there. And the moment you start to fall into old creature habits, all them creature thoughts, and all them creature ways of problem solving that you used to do, that creature will catch you back up. And you will start to look like that creature, the old version of yourself. Personal standard, rule number 4, consistency. These two things aligned, consistency of character, consistency of tactics, the results become inevitable. It's simple as that. And again, you are going to have hurdles, right? It's so important that you don't get emotionally invested. And this is hard to do. When you see amazing results, the problem is with this. You will get in exceptional shape a lot faster than your character will develop really high level of self-respect. you could potentially get shredded in 15 weeks. You could lose 15 kilos of body fat in 15 weeks, right? But during that 15-week process, you still don't believe that you are an elite man. You still don't believe that you are an athletic man. So the physical results come a lot quicker than the character results, but you still need to pause and take a deep breath and take a moment to acknowledge the character traits in which you're actually trying to develop. Hopefully that makes sense. Everything I've just told you works. If you follow them rules religiously, you will get the results in which you endeavour to get. You will absolutely smash 2026 out the park. But what I've found is that most blokes don't have a lack of information. They don't have a lack of certain tactics. It's when the cards are down and when the pressure is amplified, they really struggle to stay on track. That's why I built the program, because it's not just about information, it's not just about tactics, it's about keeping you on track when it matters most.